Well. And welcome to the Go Spurs Go Memes podcast number 11, live but recorded from the Go Spurs Go Memes Network studios. I am your host, Ray. I am joined by the best damn crew that anyone could ask for. Here in studio with me, I do have Buddy the engineer, Frank the producer, Sean my co-host, and Jack the intern. Gentlemen, how are we doing this fine Sunday evening?
Doing great, Ray. Went to Worst Fest today. Feeling the effects a little bit still, but good time, beautiful day. It was probably the most perfect day you could have gone.
That's great. When I was talking to Jack. Jack, how are you doing?
Jack, I'm sorry.
It's all good. I think Sean feels like how I felt yesterday.
What happened yesterday, Jack?
Oh, it's another Aggie game. Things happen.
Very nice. So, Sean, tell us a little bit more about Worst Fest. What did you do?
No, it was great. Got there around 1. Parking wasn't too bad. Maybe a block and a half away. Everything was reasonably priced. Shiner is classified as domestic there.
Ooh.
Saving 2 tickets. But no, everything was great. They had the usual food fair inside the main buildings, but they also they've expanded it out a lot, and now it's more like the long row beer gardens.
Ooh,
and they
nice.
also added a food trailers, so you're getting outside vendors coming in too.
Ooh, like food trucks.
Yeah, food trucks.
Okay.
Yeah, it was great, and but no, real good, classic. I mean, great atmosphere. Really, everybody looked like they were having fun. It was a good day.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Jack, what else is going on, man? I know the Aggies did really bad yesterday, so I know you're kind of upset about that, but what else is going on? How was your week?
It was pretty good. I did well on my midterms. So
that's great.
That was good. That was nice. But yeah, besides that, just trucking on along.
Nice. Very good. Well, I did Overtime Sports on the radio again this week.
Yeah.
Had a good time with those guys. Talked a lot of sports, including the Spurs, of course. Other than that, just working like normal, putting up the memes. I'm proud to say that this afternoon, Go Spurs Go memes on Facebook did pass over 12,000 likes.
Woo-hoo.
So that's a nice little goal for us, and we're marching along. We're going to probably hit 13,000 very, very soon. I've been fortunate enough to kind of have some great things to make memes out of. So I think the big meme that I recently had that has been viewed by over 200,000 people is the Boban meme of Tyler Hansbrough from the Hornets kind of freaking out when Boban's standing right next to him.
And Tyler Hansbrough is a big guy.
Yeah, he is. And so, that was a pretty popular meme today. And then, of course, the frustration of Sean Elliott last night. He had some technical difficulties and decided to draw out a nice Spurs play that was a bit phallic, but it was pretty damn funny. So some great material coming on with all these recent Spurs games. So, it's been great. And also, we got to mention the Spurs games are back.
Yep.
We're able to watch a couple games this week. Of course, we had the Washington game on Wednesday night. Ended in a kind of frustrating way, but, whatever. Lose some, win more.
Yep.
And then, of course, last night's Charlotte game was fun as well.
Yeah, killed him.
Yeah. We'll talk more about the Spurs in a little bit. Anyways, I think it's time for the news. All right, so let's see what's going on in the world of the NBA. The Houston Rockets have waved forward Chuck Hayes. Last night, I shouldn't say last night, 2 nights ago, the Bulls became the first NBA team in 6 years, that's 477 games, including the playoffs, to go scoreless in overtime. The Kings say guard Darren Collison has a left hamstring strain and will miss the game tomorrow versus the Spurs. He's listed as day-to-day. LaMarcus Aldridge has led the league in mid-range field goals each of the last 3 years, but currently he's number 2 on the Spurs. Can you guys guess who's number 1?
Duncan.
On the Spurs?
Ginobili.
Nope, it's actually Kawhi. Yeah. Let's see. Kelly Oubre was fined $15,000 for an obscene gesture after Bradley Beal's game winner when the Spurs played the Wizards. Do you guys know what he did?
No, but I respect him for it.
Did he throw another cushion?
No, he didn't. That was somebody else.
That was Austin Rivers.
That was Austin Rivers. But actually, he actually grabbed himself after Beal hit that winner, so he kind of grabbed himself repeatedly, and the NBA saw it, so fined him $15,000. The Brooklyn Nets also announced the purchase of a new NBA D-League team, the Long Island Nets, which will debut for 2016-2017. Supposedly, the Houston Rockets will do everything they reasonably can to sign Kevin Durant this summer. They would love to have a Kevin Durant reunion with James Harden.
That would be
Scary.
That would be really scary.
I just don't see him going to Houston. I'm still on the bandwagon that he's going to Washington.
Yeah.
I really do, especially if they can keep Bradley Beal
Yeah.
and Wall. I think Durant would be nuts not to want to go to Washington. Of course, if he didn't want to stay in Oklahoma City. We'll see what happens there. Rick Carlisle of the Dallas Mavericks has agreed upon a 5-year, $35 million extension. So Rick Carlisle will be the head coach for a couple more years. Memphis is considering trading for Miami Heat point guard Mario Chalmers. Memphis could send former Spur Beno Udrih to Miami in exchange for Chalmers. And this may not be NBA news, but I kind of wanted to mention it. Rivals mentioned that the nation's number 2 player in the class of 2016, Harry Giles, actually suffered a torn ACL and will miss his entire senior season. The crazy thing about it is that on Friday, this happened on Thursday. Friday's when he committed. He went ahead and committed to Duke. So he's supposed to be going to Duke, but that ACL is completely torn. He's going to need surgery. So wish nothing but the best for the kid, but that's pretty sad. The day before you're going to commit, you completely mess up your knee.
Well, Dr. Andrews, I'm assuming he does all the big sports stars now. He's going to be doing it. And I mean, Duke has had their fair share of, now all-star players get injured, and they've done the rehabilitation through it. Point guard for Cavaliers. Trying to think.
Kyrie Irving?
Yeah, he had the same thing when he was with Duke. He was injured for most of the year. They rehabilitated him back. I think he only played like 4 or 5 games, and he's playing pretty good now.
Yeah, it's true. Well, he's injured too. So
this is actually the first year that both the number 1 and the number 2 guy at a high school is going to the same school, both going to Duke. I don't pity them. They'll be fine.
That's
I think that you're right. We'll be back in a bit. Now it's time to talk some Spurs. Joining me is Buddy the engineer. Buddy, how are you, my friend? I haven't been able to talk to you in about a week or so. How you doing?
It's been pretty good this afternoon. It's been a good weekend. I've been off all weekend, so I've been able to try to relax a little bit. Trying to get over work and things like that.
There you go. And you did watch some Spurs games this week.
Yes, sir.
We did communicate as always as the games are going on. So let's kind of talk about right now. So today is November the 8th. The record right now for the San Antonio Spurs is 4-2. So let's kind of just go over some team stats. So team leaders right now, points per game is Kawhi with 21.8. Assists per game, Manu Ginobili 3.7, which I think that's a concern that you and I will kind of address a little bit later. Because I don't think it's a good thing for Manu to be leading the team with assists.
Especially off the bench.
Off the bench, exactly. Field goal percentage, Manu again is hitting 53.1% of his shots, which he's such a spark off the bench, and I really think he got his touch back this year. Rebounds per game, LaMarcus Aldridge was 9.2. Steals per game, Kawhi Leonard, he's averaging 2. And blocks per game, Kawhi's leading that as well at 1.3. Team stats, points per game, the Spurs are averaging 101.7. That's 17th in the league right now. Rebounds per game is 46.5. They're tied for 8th. Assists per game is at 24, and that's 4th in the league. And they're allowing 92.3 points per game, and that's also 4th in the league. Okay, buddy. So what do you think, man? What are you seeing? What are you thinking?
So far, you're seeing the infancy of a new team in reality. I mean, you have Aldridge, and you're mixing West in there. You're trying to mix all the new parts in there along with the new offense, and you're trying to see how it all comes together. You have your growing pains. You have your great things.
Lots of growing pains, yep.
And and I'm starting to see flashes of great things. I say that, like, when we got into the Hornets game, for instance, the first, again, we're in that whole tale of two half things again, where, like, the second quarter, they were pretty stagnant. Beginning of the third quarter, they were real stagnant, and all of a sudden, they just blew up. But that's going to bring me into something else here. I think overall, I've been pretty happy with the progress. I can't say that anybody's like taken a serious step back. The only people that I would have a complaint with as far as stepping back right now would probably be Parker and Green. Yeah. I haven't been too happy with their performance so far for the beginning of the year, which is going to bring up a subject that we're going to talk about as well. We noticed that, for instance, assists per game right now, Ginobili's leading the team at 3.7 assists, right?
Yeah, that's not a good thing.
So the first thing that comes to my mind is your point guard should always be leading the team in assists, right?
Agreed.
And so far, I have to say I have been rather disappointed in Parker's play for the beginning of the season. And I don't know what it is per se. We've been talking a little bit about this on and off, right?
Yeah.
But the one thing that I'm starting to realize is that he's becoming more of a liability as time's gone on.
Agreed. And I think I'll plus one you there, buddy, is because I kind of feel it's not just Parker, it's our guard play, our starting guards, Danny Green and Tony Parker. At times, they both have this flash of greatness where, Tony will go and start hitting that teardrop jumper of his. Danny Green will spot up, hit a three on the run. We love seeing things like that, but, when they're playing together, you're just not seeing that. You're seeing laps in defenses. You're seeing no fast break points. You're seeing horrible transitional D. And that's a big concern for us. And I think we really saw that when the Spurs played the Wizards because they went up against what's arguably the best, backcourt with Bradley Beal and John Wall. And, I just kind of want to go over this recap of the Spurs and Wizards. So, of course, the Spurs did lose 102-99. Just kind of want to go off of the turnovers. The turnovers are what killed the Spurs. They had 21 turnovers. The Wizards were able to score 28 points off of those turnovers. The Wizards gave up the ball 10 times, and we only scored 7 points off of that. That's not going to win you any games.
No.
And then Beal had 25 points. He was 11 of 22, 3 for 8 from three-point land. John Wall threw in another 17 points, 6 for 16 field goals, and 1 for 5 from three-point land. And Kawhi was really the only one that kind of did really well for the Spurs. So he threw in 23 points, 10 for 22 from field goals, and 1 for 4 from three-point land. The other glaring thing here with this game was the fast break points. Like I kind of mentioned, the Spurs are not getting those fast break points, and that's killing us because usually with fast break points, what's leading you is your point guard. And that's just not happening with Tony Parker. So in this game, the Spurs only had 17 fast break points while the Wizards had 24. I really am concerned about the guard play. Other than that, I think there's a lot of positives that are happening with the Spurs. Aldridge is slowly starting to get his shot. For the past 3 years, he's led the league in those mid-range jumpers. He's number 2 on the Spurs right now for that. But it's going to come. It's going to take time. And I think you really see that because I kind of feel like I'm a broken record. I kind of mention it every podcast that when you see that second team go out there, you really see the chemistry. You really see how well they do. The first team doesn't have that chemistry yet.
And this is the thing I was going to bring up to you. So, for instance, the Hornets game, which we're going to recap here in a little bit, right?
Right.
You saw how the second team saved them in that game.
Exactly.
You took out the first team that was in there at the beginning of the third quarter. It came out lackadaisical again. You had somebody like Walker coming in there and just absolutely torching the Spurs. I mean, he was just torching Parker. I mean, nobody could really take him at all.
No,
right?
not at all.
And granted, I mean, the Hornets were hitting shots that were just ridiculous. They were hitting threes just everywhere. You had Marvin Williams hitting 2 or 3 threes in that third point. And mind you, who in the heck is Marvin Williams? But the thing is that you go back to that whole thing where there's a big hole when it comes to people like Parker. Not like you said Green, for instance, and you were a little bit disappointed in Green's guard play, right? I can live with Green's bad shooting. I can live with him not making a lot of points because I really believe that he makes a difference defensively for us. When he takes the guards, the 2 guards, and he makes life difficult for them.
Sure.
And I can live with that. But Parker, it used to be that I could deal with his defensive deficiencies because of the fact that he was so good offensively. He could beat somebody off of a dribble, beat somebody craftily with a layup or something like that, and I could live with that. But now you're starting to see where he doesn't have that step anymore.
No, he doesn't have that step anymore.
He can't have that craftiness anymore. And he's getting burned not only defensively, but also offensively now. And every time. And then it comes in where you have somebody like Mills comes in there. And granted, I'm not saying that Mills is the answer here.
No, he's not. I don't know he's not.
But what I'm saying is you have Mills come in there, who's the energy guy, comes there, and then all of a sudden it stabilizes and starts becoming, to where we gain momentum. And we'll talk about this in the Hornets game. So I'm going to let you go into the Hornets thing here.
Okay, so before we go into the Hornets game, I just want to add, just kind of talk a little bit about the stats. Percentages, I guess. For the Spurs, like we said earlier, they lost in this game. They were shooting 46% from the field, 32% from threes, and they actually hit 90% of their free throws. And I think free throws has been another problem for the Spurs. We've been doing really horrible with that. But for this game, for some reason, we hit 90% of the free throws. The Wizards were very close to the Spurs. So Wizards hit 48% with their field goals, 35% from three-point land, and were actually 71% from their free throws. And again, I really think the reason why the Spurs lost lost this game was because of the turnovers. The turnovers just killed us. We gave up the ball way too much, and it was just easy baskets for the Wizards. And again, points in the paint for the Wizards, 44, but as the same as for the Spurs, we had 42. So that kind of, washes each other out. So let's kind of talk about the Charlotte game because that kind of showed you a little bit difference between when the Spurs play well and when they're kind of struggling, but still had the lead. They should have won that Washington game, like they really should have. But again, I just kind of feel that Bradley Beal and John Wall just kind of killed them.
Right. And I mean, the guard play just killed them overall.
Exactly. So the Spurs won against the Hornets 114-94. Kawhi Leonard threw in 23 points, was 10 of 16 for his field goals, and 2 of 4 from 3 points. Aldridge threw in 16 points. Patty Mills had 15 points, and Ginobili had 13 points. So total team effort with this victory here.
This is with Aldridge with foul trouble for the whole game.
Exactly. Yeah. But you really start to see how well Aldridge could do, So I was very happy to see how well the Spurs did there. But again, there was that point that Charlotte was just beating them.
We'll talk about Kemba Walker.
Yeah, Kemba
Walker straight up punked Parker in that whole game. I mean, he was all over the place. If he wasn't running him off of a dribble, he was hitting a shot over him. If he wasn't hitting a shot over him, he was like either doing a little spin move on him or just punking him in one way, shape, or form. And he made him look, again, a guy who's a mediocre player.
Exactly.
He made him look like
an all-star.
Exactly.
And that's the crazy thing is that nobody could really do anything to stop Walker, just like you said. So Kemba Walker, the point guard for the Charlotte Hornets, he scored 27 points, was 11 of 15 for his shots, and 2 of 2 from three-point land. He could basically just do whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted. Spurs had no answers for him.
Charlotte made a humongous mistake in this game. They actually had a chance to take the control of this game, but I really think their coach made a really big mistake. Midway to the third quarter, they took Walker out, and they put Lynn back in there.
Right.
And I'm just going to go back to that. His hair must be pointy, but, man, he still sucks. God, he just
that's the
killed
crazy thing is, I do agree
momentum.
with you. Jeremy Lin isn't the player he used to be, but if you think about Lin's sanity back when he was with the Knicks, he could really play, but it just kind of seems the last couple of years, when he was with the Lakers, when he was the Hornets, he just really didn't seem to have a place. And so you really couldn't see what he could do. And everybody was really thinking that in the Hornets, he was going to bloom, he was going to be awesome. And we just haven't seen that yet.
And he killed their momentum. I mean, when they came in there, they actually went on that 21-3 run, and then that's when the Spurs took control, went up 15, almost to 20 at that point, and then they couldn't even get any closer. And then they bring Walker back in until about 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, which they were, and then they started sort of making a run at that point, but it was way too late at that point. The Hornets had a chance in this game, but they made a big mistake overall, taking him out. And then Jefferson didn't play all that well in the game.
Right.
He only had something like 16 or 18 points in the game, which before he had torched Dallas in the game before that. And so we actually dodged a bullet with the Hornets. But
yeah, we did.
But our second team, goes back to the thing, our second team came in the middle of that third quarter and really solidified it. Ginobili, Mills, Diaw came in there. And, of course, our one of your favorites, West.
Weast. Hashtag Weast.
He had his best game of the season so far in this game because Aldridge had the foul trouble.
Right.
He had somewhere around the 19-point range. He was playing great defensively, and he solidified them in the center. Sort of made trouble for people like the Zeller kid. He made trouble for that poor guy. And so, I think that they did a good job showing how much their second team really saves them in times like this.
Right. So let's kind of talk about the concerns of the Charlotte game. So first off, we only shot 65% of our free throws. So that needs to get better. We're missing way too many free throws. We only had 8 fast break points. Again, guard play. Just again, I'm a broken record about that. We actually scored 40 points in the paint, but Charlotte scored 36 points in the paint. And, I've kind of mentioned before, we have no center lane presence. There's nobody blocking shots. There's nobody. People are just easily getting to the basket and doing layups. And so we're going to continue to see that problem with points in the paint because there is no defense right up the middle. Let's see what else. The Spurs had 13 turnovers. Charlotte was able to score 18 points off of those turnovers. Charlotte gave up the ball 15 times, and we were able to score 21 points off turnovers. So those things right there, I think those are still concerns for the Spurs. We're turning over the ball too much, not hitting our free throws. We're not getting any fast break points, and teams are scoring on us in the paint.
And the one thing that comes to mind when I think about these things, and I keep comparing, and it's not fair to compare the team, right? But I think about teams and I think about the top right now.
Right.
And I think of people like the Warriors.
Of course.
We've seen the Warriors already at the beginning of the season. They've taken off exactly where they left off last year. They're just absolutely smashing teams at this point. I think their average win right now is somewhere within the 20 to 25 point per game where they're winning.
And that's down.
And that's down, mind
That's
you.
down,
they're
yeah.
hammering people. And it's because of their frenetic play and their guard play.
It's all their guard play,
Their
exactly.
guard play. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, here comes, let's say the Spurs come up against them right now. Oh, man, Curry and Thompson are just going to
They would
absolutely
kill
torch
us. They would
They're going to
absolutely
torch us.
kill us.
You know, at this point, and this is but this is the part that I get to. Is like, how are we supposed to overcome that? And this is why I bring up the fact that should we start looking at somebody to like take over for Parker? Should we start looking to offload Parker into somebody who we can get as a viable point guard for our future that he's going to be something not, and I can't expect to get somebody like Curry, obviously.
Right.
But somebody of that dynamic, because that, I think, is going to be a big hindrance for us going forward. And we're going to see it. I will sit here with you. I will put an M&M's little wrapper right now on this, that when it comes to the Warriors game, the next Warriors game, when we play them, and I will bet you 10-1, and this next month we're going to play them, the Heat's going to torch us for 40 points easy.
Yeah.
And I can already see it happening.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that's going to dissuade me from that. I mean, Aldridge might have a big game. That's great. But I mean, if Parker's going to have 9 points, Green will have 10 points, and then Thompson and Curry is going to have 40 and 30 points, and they're just going to.
And I don't think the Spurs play the Warriors until the spring sometime, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. I don't have the schedule right in front of me, but I think that's what it is. But you're 100% right there. And so, that's a good question to pose, buddy, is it time to start looking at somebody to replace Tony Parker? Because it just does not look like he's going to get any better. He does have his games where he excels. He does really well. But all in all, overall, I should say, he's just not that point guard that we used to have. And that's why I kind of mentioned to you that I kind of feel that's why the Austin Spurs have Bryce Cotton there and have Kiefer Sykes there, is because they're looking for up-and-coming point guards that are going to take Parker's place, because Parker's under contract till 2019. Will they extend him after that? I don't know. But he wants to be a Spur for the rest of his career. And so if he decides to hang it up in 2019, the team has to have somebody to come in and take over as point guard. Is Bryce Cotton, is Kiefer Sykes the answer? I don't know. But it is something that needs to be addressed, because I agree with you there. I don't think Patty's ready to take that starting role over. If Tony got injured, sure, Patty could fill in. We're not really seeing that much of Ray McCallum. We're kind of seeing him do cleanup duty. So, we really haven't seen what can McCallum do. But guard play is very, very important. And I think it's just we're going to be broken records every week, buddy, talking about the guard play, because that's a glaring issue the Spurs have right now. But Buddy and I and the rest of the crew will be back in a bit.
Knock on our door.
Knock on our door.
We've been waiting for you.
We've been waiting for you.
Where the kisses are
Hers and his. Three's company too.
Come and dance on our floor.
And now it's time to talk the top trio. So, of course, guys, last week we had the record breaker of 541 wins by Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili. They took that record over the Boston Celtics trio of Mikal, Bird, and Parrish. And so what we're going to do now is kind of talk about the top trios throughout all of sports. Well, not all of sports. We should say that the big four. So we're going to talk about basketball, baseball, hockey, and football. So first, let's kind of talk about the trios in football. Jack, would you like to start us off?
Yeah, we can do that. Football is probably the most popular sport in the United States. So I picked 5 of these. We got first from the Buffalo Bills of the kind of late 80s, early 90s, Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed. They did go to 4 straight Super Bowls. Of course, they
didn't win a single one.
But hey, at least they were there. Made playoffs 8 of those 9 seasons together, and all 3 of those guys did make the Pro Bowl for 3 straight years. So you got those guys.
You couldn't help but feel bad for the Buffalo Bills,
real.
going so many years of Super Bowl and just never ever.
After like the second one, you started to feel bad.
Yeah, you just kind of feel bad.
Oh.
It's really sad because that
They're
really,
due.
yeah,
Like, oh, maybe this time.
yeah, because that was a great little trio there, but unfortunately, just never brought a Super Bowl championship to that city.
And okay, so probably the most favorite here in Texas, we've got, of course, the triplets: Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, the Cowboys of the '90s. 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. They're all in the Hall of Fame. This did surprise me. Aikman never threw for over 3,500 yards or never surpassed 23 touchdowns.
I know.
Is that because of Emmitt Smith?
Yeah.
I think so.
It's because of a great offensive line in Emmitt Smith. That's all you need.
Yep, I can totally see that. Yep.
Yeah.
They also turned. Well, the year before they all got together, the Cowboys were 1-15. Like, that's really kind of crazy.
You know, the one team they beat was the Washington Redskins.
Woo.
Yeah, I remember watching as a kid with my dad.
Good stuff. All right, so a little bit earlier, of course, you had the 49ers, Montana, Roger Craig, Jerry Rice. Montana had 4 Super Bowls in 9 years. Jerry Rice is probably one of the greatest receivers ever, if not the greatest.
Yes.
Nah, he's the best.
And then Roger Craig was actually the first player to both run and receive for over 1,000 yards in a season. And he's actually the only NFL running back to lead the league in receiving.
Wow.
Kind of interesting. Fourth, we're going back a bit, probably before any of our times, to the Baltimore Colts of the 50s and 60s. Johnny Unitas, Raymond Berry, and Lenny Moore. Unitas was 5th in passing for over a decade, or top 5, sorry, not just 5th. And he also led in passing from 57 to 1960. This was kind of crazy for as long as he played. Raymond Berry only fumbled twice in his 13-year career.
That's nuts.
Like that's kind of crazy.
That's crazy.
And then Lenny Moore was probably the first of the real dual threat guys before dual threat was really a thing. He only led his team in rushing from 3 times in those 13 years. But he was always top of the league in receiving and always scored a bunch of touchdowns. During that time, the Colts went 101-54. They won titles in 58 and 59, so they were probably some of the best back then. And then a little bit later, the old Steel Curtain, of course, was known for their defense, but they had 3 really good guys on offense: Terry Bradshaw, Lynn Swann, and Franco Harris. Super Bowls, they won them in 74, 75, 78, and 79. 78 was probably their best year. They finished 14-2. Bradshaw was the MVP in 78. They won the Super Bowl 78 and 79. He was the MVP those years, and he made the Pro Bowl 3 times. Franco Harris was the 74 MVP, went to the Pro Bowl 9 times. Lynn Swann was the 75 Super Bowl MVP.
It's just funny because it's just like all these accolades for these 3 guys.
Like they were...
They were amazing.
They were the best of the best. So of those 5 trios, who is
Bradshaw,
the best?
Swan, and Harris.
Who is the best? Who's the best trio?
It's Sean. What do you think?
For me, it's between the Bradshaw, Swan, and Harris, and Montana, Craig, and Rice. Just because, man.
You just
it's a tough.
growing up, you remember Montana and Rice and the Niners and how successful they were. But if you think about if you look at this list that we have here and you kind of look at everything those Steelers did from 74 to 82, I just have to say it's the Steelers. But that's just my opinion. Jack, how do you feel?
I think we're going to get really reamed. And, if y'all have comments on this, definitely, hit us up on Facebook or send us an email if you think other trios are better than this. But I've got to agree with you about the Steelers.
Yep. Okay.
There's too much out there.
Okay, Sean, let's do hockey.
And, I like to point out this is the first hockey talk we're doing of the year on the Go Spurs Go meme. And I'm happy to bring it in.
Hockey go meme.
Good night, Canada. All right.
Go Oilers, go.
Well, the first group we have Gretzky, Mark Messier, and Yari.
Messier.
And they were with the Edmonton Oilers from 1980 through 88. They won 4 Stanley Cups in 5 years, and they were top 3 points leaders in Oilers history. So you pretty much had the cream of the crop there for a while. And
it really was like the Oilers of the 80s. That was the team in hockey. And I mean, all three players were just famous. Their jerseys are retired. I'm a huge Messier fan. I always have been. I remember when I was younger and he helped the Rangers win a Stanley Cup and broke the curse that was in New York. There was that curse over them. So
all these guys played at different. They played for the Penguins for a while, and
Yuri played with the Penguins, and then Gretzky, of course,
Went to the
was
Kings.
famous for the Kings. Right, exactly.
That famous fiasco that happened with the Kings, stolen in the middle of the night or something like that, to bring hockey up in the forefront of people, and especially in the U.S. So, anywho, that's another story. The other group that we have is Gordie Howe, Ted Lindsay, Sid Abel. They were with the Detroit Red Wings from 46 to 52. I think the only person that was around for that was Frank. They lost the Stanley Cup in 48 and 49, but they did happen to win in 50 and 52. In 1950, the trio finished 1, 2, 3 in points scored. How? And let me see. Howe won 4 straight Art Ross trophies, and all 3 are Hall of Famers.
Yeah, and I think the big thing is when you think hockey, the name that most people think of is Gordie Howe. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. It's Gretzky,
right.
but Gordie Howe is probably the most famous older hockey player.
True.
Hate to say original hockey player, but you know what I mean. Like everybody knows Gordie Howe. Sean, want to do baseball?
Yeah, I probably Gordie. I would just continuing. Yeah, Gordie Howe definitely baseball, and this is also our first baseball talk of the Go Spurs Go memes history. Glad to bring it
we
in.
don't need no stinking World Series.
No,
we don't need no World Series to talk
I'm
about.
still asleep.
All right, so the first group we're going to talk about is one of the ones I grew up with, which was Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, John Smoltz. They played for the Braves from 93 to 2002. Maddux won 4 straight Cy Youngs from 92 to 95, 3 of them with Atlanta. The other one, I believe, was with the Cubs.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken.
The year before he went to Atlanta.
Yeah. And they won the World Series in 95. John Smoltz won the Cy Young in 96. All 3 had ERAs under 3, which is insane. If any of y'all know baseball, that is absolutely insane. Glavine won his second Cy Young in 98. His first one was in 91. Again, all had ERAs under 3 and combined for 26 All-Stars, 7 Cy Youngs, and all are Hall of Famers. That's a heavy
Can
break.
we just stop there? No, we got a couple more, but I mean, I'm a Braves fan.
There's only one more I would like to bring up because they were so prevalent, and that's Pete Rose, Joe Morgan, and Johnny Bench. Cincinnati Reds from 72 to 78. Went to 3 World Series and won back-to-back in 76 and 77. In 1975, they averaged 5.19 runs a game, which is insane. They were almost a good 3/4 of a point higher than second place that year, and each won an MVP. Bench in 72, Rose in 73, and Morgan 75 and 76. So he's the all-time hits leader, the best hitting catcher ever in baseball with Johnny Bench and Joe Morgan. Wow, that's. Jack, I know that's between you two. So
No. Keep going with baseball.
All right,
yeah.
I'll keep going with baseball.
They are 2 other good ones.
Yeah.
So you may have heard of this guy, Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, and Earl Combs. They played for New York between 1924 to 34. They went 3 World Series in 4 appearances, swept all 3. Won 110 games in 1927, which is insane.
That was a good year.
That's a lot.
That's especially for that time, because I think at the time they were only playing 70-something games in the regular season, or 70 or 80 games in the regular season, and they won a bunch of playoffs. Let's see, where else were we? Ruth had 60 home runs in 27 and had at least 46 and 146 RBIs from 26 to 31, which
That's
is
just nuts.
still impressive. Garrick had 173 RBIs in 27, and in 1930 had 185. God, that is super high. I almost don't want to bring up the last one because
Those numbers have nothing to do with inflation.
yeah, like for real, or deflation. That is man numbers right there. Yeah, and in the last group, Joe Tinker, Johnny Evers, and Frank Chance, they played for the Chicago Cubs from 2002 or from
Put some money on the Cubbies.
1902 through 1912. They averaged 106 wins from 06 to 2000 or 1910. Not used to saying 1910. Sorry, kids. 2 wins and 4 World Series, all Hall of Famers. So
Okay, so for the baseball,
For the baseball.
okay, so I know Jack is gonna say the Braves.
True.
Is the
all day long.
best the best three. So Sean, what do you think is the best?
I going for the Reds.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you there. I will agree with the Reds on that one. Now it's time for basketball. I will take care of basketball. So of course, the Showtime Lakers of the '80s: Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and James Worthy. From '82 to '89, went to 6 NBA Finals and won 3 of them. Each won a Finals MVP. All 3 have retired numbers. Magic MVP in '87, '89, and '90. Kareem MVP in '71, '72, '74, '76, '77, and '80.
That's a lot of years.
It's a couple of years there. Also, the Boston Celtics, Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, 1980 to 1992. All 3 of them are Hall of Famers. 5 NBA Finals, and they won 3 of them. For most of the run, they accounted for 50% of the points and were the top 3 rebounders. That's nuts. The 85-86 team is widely thought of one of the best teams of all time. The Big Three averaged 63.2 points, 27.4 rebounds, and finished 67-15. Bird was the MVP. From 84 to 86. And then, of course, you got to mention your San Antonio Spurs: Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili. From 2003 to the present, playoffs every year, 4 championships and 5 final appearances. They won 50-plus games every year. Best record was 63-19. Ginobili leads Spurs in three-pointers, Parker in assists, and Duncan leads in games, minutes, field goals, and rebounds. Duncan was the MVP in 2002-2003.
That was 10 years ago.
Yeah, it is crazy. The Los Angeles Lakers from 97 to 2003, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, and Robert Horry. 3 championships in 4 final appearances. They lost in the Western Conference Finals other 3 years. Their best record was 67-15. Kobe leads Lakers in games, minutes, field goals, threes. Shaq, 7th in field goals, 4th in rebounds, 2nd in blocks. Kobe was the MVP in 2008, and Shaq was the MVP in 2000. You also got to mention the Miami Heat, 2011 to 2014, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. 2 championships and 4 final appearances. 66-16 best record. Dwayne Wade leads in games, minutes, field goals, 2-pointers, free throws, and assists. LeBron leads minutes per game and points per game. LeBron was the MVP 4 times in 2009, 10, 2012, and 2013. We're also going to mention the Boston Celtics from 2008 to 2012, the trio of Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce. Won championship in 2 final appearances. They had a 66-16 record in 2007-2008, where they won an NBA championship. Pierce is 3rd in games, minutes, field goals, and 1st in threes and free throws. Then, of course, you've got to mention the mighty Chicago Bulls from 1995 to 1999. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Ron Harper, 3 final wins, 96 to 98. Jordan and Pippen won 3 more from 91 to 93. Jordan Pippen 1 and 2 in games, minutes, and field goals. Jordan also leads rebounds, free throws, and assists. Jordan Pippen played together from 88 to 98. It's really hard to kind of narrow down a third guy. You have Dennis Rodman there from 96 to 98. Horace Grant from 88 to 94. That's the Bulls that I remember is with Horace Grant. It was, Jordan, Pippen,
goggles.
Horace Grant. Yep.
I almost said, who's Ron Harper?
And Jordan was the MVP 5 times, 1988, 91, 92, 96, and 98.
That's pretty good.
And, of course, Jordan and Pippen are Hall of Famers. We also, finally, the last group we're going to mention is the Detroit Bad Boys, the Pistons from 1982 to 91. Lambeer, Thomas, Vinnie Johnson, 2 championships and 3 finals. Isaiah Thomas leads in minutes, field goals, free throws, and assists. Lambeer leads in rebounds. 710 wins, 3rd all-time for the NBA. And, of course, Isaiah Thomas is a Hall of Famer. Gentlemen, discussing basketball, who do you think was the best trio in basketball?
I'll go through who I shouldn't think. Magic, Kareem, and James Worthy. Kareem was at the end of his reign of dominance at the time. In fact, Magic Johnson helped him win that inaugural championship during his rookie year.
Right.
I'm taking them away just because their greatness didn't add up all at the same time. Bird, McHale, and Chief, that's sticking around for the next round. Same with Duncan, Parker, Ginobili, Kobe, Shaq, and Horry. No. LeBron, Wade, and Bosh.
No.
Yeah, they were good. I mean, they should go on. Garnett, Allen, and Pierce. It was good, but it didn't last long enough for me. Jordan, Pippen, Harper. Sorry, Harper, but you ain't going on. And Lambeer, as much as I love Bill Lambeer, and God, he's my favorite 80s player. He really is. But no, I would say, honestly, it's between the Spurs' big three and then Boston's big three.
Yeah, I kind of,
I got to give it to Boston, though, man.
Yeah,
At
you
least
know.
now.
For right now, I could go with Bird, McHale, and Parrish. But I mean, it really is hard when it comes to basketball because, of course, the Jordan Bulls were just very dominant. 6 championships. You kind of got to and respect them for how awesome they were. But so were the Celtics from 80 to 92. Same thing with the Showtime Lakers and, of course, the Spurs trio. Most wins in NBA history. So that's kind of a toss-up for me there.
What are you looking at, Ray?
I'm actually kind of leaning towards the Celtics, to be honest.
I don't want to admit it, but
I don't want to admit it, but I'm kind of leaning towards the Celtics, but I don't have any justification for it. Jack, what are you thinking, bud?
Go Spurs, go.
All right.
wow.
All right. Well, that was the top trios. We will all be back in a bit. And we're back, and it's time to talk football because yesterday was... That's right. It was Saturday, which means we had a full day of college football. Gentlemen, did you guys get to watch football yesterday?
Yes. Lots of it.
And it was wonderful. Where do we start? Jack, you want to start us off?
Yeah, well, I think the main story of the week was the first of the college football playoff bowls.
Ooh, yes.
A little bit of controversy. Of course, Alabama kind of got a little bit of favoritism, but they proved they deserved it.
It was justified.
I can't believe they beat LSU so bad. But
They looked daddy versus baby. There wasn't a lot LSU could do.
Not at all. So, Alabama did win 30-15. Derrick Henry went off.
God, is he good or
38 carries, 210 for 3 touchdowns. Pretty much kind of threw himself into the Heisman race, I think, and they really made Fournette look not good.
No kidding. Jesus.
He only had 19 carries, 31 yards.
And then I was very happy to see Oklahoma State defeat TCU yesterday.
True.
Spank them.
They didn't defeat them. They beat them.
They beat them, so that was really awesome to see. I'd been saying it for a while that I didn't think TCU was a contender. Oklahoma State proved it. But I'm not kind of sold on Oklahoma State just yet, so I'm curious to see what's going to happen with them.
Their defense
they got
is
some games
good.
coming up.
Yeah, no, they get Baylor at home, and then they finish up with Oklahoma at home for Bedlam.
Bedlam.
That's 2 good weeks right there.
Yeah,
it's going to be
really
exciting.
is.
Yeah. So we had that. We had the surprising upset of Nebraska beating Michigan State as well.
I know. By a point.
Anybody see that coming?
I didn't see the game at all. I forgot what I was watching. What was I watching?
Was Gilmore Girls on Netflix?
It possibly was.
Excellent.
I don't know. I wasn't watching that game, though. I know that.
Florida barely beating Vanderbilt. What the hell?
Yeah.
Florida does that.
Yeah.
True. And then Iowa's still undefeated. They beat Indiana.
True.
But that game was close in the beginning. That up until the half, that game was still close. We had a surprise Navy beating Memphis 45-20.
Oh, I was so pissed about that.
Yeah, I think we all were.
That does leave Houston as the only
Undefeated
group
from
of
that.
5.
Yeah. Which is exciting because they still have to play Temple and Memphis for the rest of the year, which could that vault them into a playoff? I don't think
I
so.
don't think so,
Unless you're looking at, one undefeated, 2 one-loss teams and a bunch of 2-loss teams.
I don't think they make the top 4, but I think they'll be in the
New Year's Day?
Yeah.
Peach?
Oh, I don't know which one.
I don't know.
I'm just throwing out names here. Let me see. Some other games.
Number 1 team in the nation, Clemson. Taking
yes.
care of Florida State.
That was a good game. I watched a good 2.5 quarters of that. It was reasonably close for the most part. And then in the fourth quarter, man, that thing, and then they rushed the field. I don't usually agree with rushing the field. Rush the field.
No. See, I think part of it's coming from the A&M background that I come from, and no one sets foot on the field unless we draw our sword. But, I'm totally not a fan of anything.
Yeah. Speaking of A&M, Jack?
I like that setup. Very well done.
I set it up to spike it.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what happened.
I was surprised that it was. I mean, the rain definitely played a factor in that,
Right.
but man, it was.
I mean, well, Auburn came into the game basically saying, all right, Kyler Murray, beat us with your arm. Hand the ball off. And they did, but we couldn't do anything.
Yeah. For those that are wondering, Notre Dame did win against Pittsburgh. The game wasn't that close at all, although Montana was there, which was nice. And so he got to see it live.
Johnny was in College Station.
Huh?
So Johnny was in College Station.
Was he really?
Yeah, he was.
Oh, there you
Okay,
go.
let's see what else. Utah beat Washington. Stanford beat Colorado.
Oh, here's a stat. Stat of the day. It makes me sad as an A&M guy. You know, as much as we throw the ball, we only threw the ball to 4 different guys.
Wow.
That's why we
That's
lost the
pretty
game.
bad.
Well, that and the
Well-
3 interceptions. But fair enough. Okay, that's enough of them.
Fair dues.
How
Okay.
about Texas? I don't think I've ever said that in my life. What is going on?
I watched
well,
the first
they beat,
quarter of that, and
they beat Kansas. I
they
mean,
did
it's
beat-
not
they
anything.
they opened it up, and they definitely didn't mind throwing the ball deep. That was for sure.
All right, so who is your? I think we're done with the game, right?
Yep.
So who's your top 4?
Clemson, Bama, Ohio State,
Don't say it.
Baylor.
Good.
Did I
you
say
didn't
Baylor
it.
already? Oh.
No, you didn't.
Okay.
So Baylor over Notre Dame.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, their new quarterback looked pretty good.
Yeah, plug and play like we kind of discussed last week. Okay, let's go to the pros.
Okay.
So right now we are in the fourth quarter, 7:22 left. Eagles, Cowboys. Eagles are up 24-21.
Yeah, they just kicked a field goal.
Monday morning's going to be tough around the city tomorrow, kids, if this sticks. A couple of surprises I noticed. I don't think anybody saw the Colts beating
Denver.
at all.
At all, yeah, I agree there.
I mean, especially considering the Colts haven't done anything really all year. Their offensive line's been looking shoddy, and Denver's defense has been the number 1 defense in the league, and they didn't work. I don't know how, but they won. Good for them.
Atlanta lost to the 49ers today.
Surprise.
So it was a surprise.
So who's
there.
missing Kaepernick? Not them.
Not them.
Not yet.
And then, of course, the Panthers are still undefeated. They took care of
God, they
business with the
look good,
Packers.
too.
Patriots are also undefeated. They took care of the Redskins. Bills look pretty good today. They beat up on the Dolphins. Let's see what else.
Big Ben went down again.
Oh yeah, he's injured again.
Pittsburgh did get the win, but he was carted off the field.
And then, of course, on Thursday, the Bengals, Los Tigres del Norte,
Took care of
are
the Browns.
still undefeated. They beat up on the Browns. Yeah, yeah.
Got a favorite for the Monday night game?
Who's the Monday night game?
Exactly. No one really
it's the
cares.
Chargers and Bears, right?
Yeah.
The
Doesn't
Bears.
really matter.
The Bear. I'm gonna go with San Diego just because they're home.
Speaking of Tigre del Norte,
Yes.
are we looking at them Super Bowl contenders now?
Totally.
Or are we still looking? I mean, they're in the AFC.
mean,
they're
yeah,
going to be
they-
playing the Pats.
Yeah.
Who we?
Yeah.
I mean, are they a Juan in a million shot?
I don't know.
When do they play? When do they?
I don't think they play against each other this year.
Let me look that up real quick.
Yeah, look
take,
that
take
up.
that- take a look.
Because I still feel the Patriots are just this machine that's just going to obliterate everybody right now.
I don't know if you saw any highlights from the Patriots Redskins game today, but Redskins fans were leaving fairly in droves by the third quarter.
Yeah, and then the Patriots also lost their running back today. He was injured.
Oh, yeah, Deion Lewis.
Yeah, there you go.
That's going to be a tough loss. But, if we've been able to prove anything with Belichick, he plugs and plays.
They do not play.
They
They're
don't
like,
play,
oh,
do
there's
they?
a third
Patriots
string.
do play the Broncos.
That'll be good.
Who knows what that's going on?
Okay, all right, guys. Well, that's football. We will be back in a bit. And now it's time for On the Fly on the mics. I do have Frank, the producer, right next to me. Sean
evening, good
and Jack, the intern, are here as well. Buddy's here on the soundboard, making sure that we sound nice and clear for everybody. But Buddy will chime in when he feels like it. So let's kind of see what's on the topic today, gentlemen. So we're going to pull up Twitter and just kind of see what's trending right now. So the top trend right now on Twitter, of course, is the Eagles versus the Cowboys. Do we have an update on the score right now?
They just tied it up. There's 24 all. 2 minutes left.
2 minutes left. 2 minutes left. Next thing on the list is The Walking Dead. And of course, all of us are here recording, so we have no idea.
We want to warn everybody, please do not spoil it for us.
Yeah,
None at all.
this may be on the internet, but we'll find where you live.
Let's see. Number 3 is hashtag RHOA. I don't know what that means. Let's look that up.
Housewives of Atlanta.
Skip.
Yeah.
Skip it.
I'm too old.
How did you know that so fast?
Hey, look, it's all been around for years, okay? I'm not the only one who knows it.
You know,
I have no idea. None of you're the only one who knows it here.
I thought it was a WWE event.
Speaking of, is there an event tonight?
Oh, I have no idea.
No, I think it's next.
But WrestleMania is in Dallas, and you can buy tickets now. Just saying.
Are we
Have
going?
you seen how much the tickets are for that thing?
How much is it?
The average ticket's about $300.
$300 for a ticket to WrestleMania.
I
You
kind of
see a
want to
bunch
go.
of fake stuff.
That's and it's at Jerry World too,
whoa,
right?
it's not fake.
I thought we were all marks here.
Scripted, not fake.
I would like to point that out. You talk about wrestling now?
What?
Wrestling,
Well, you
dude?
can if you
wanna
want
bring it
to.
up, bring it up. Bring
By
it up.
all means, Sean,
Yes.
go ahead.
Well,
Talk wrestling.
They just had the recent
era.
the wrestling game 2016.
Chappaquiddick 2015.
She could have took swim lessons. Anyways, so that's deep.
I know it was really deep.
No, but evidently the headlining match between Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins evidently tore his ACL. He's gonna be gone. So they're like, so we gotta fill it in.
So how scripted was that?
Yeah, buddy. How scripted was that? So evidently, there's been talks that different. They might be bringing Sting in for that, or this is just a rumor. Hacksaw Jim Duggan. That's my wish.
Wow.
Oh.
Speaking of it, man, talk about
And
going
actually,
old school.
I saw a rumor today that said that the main event at WrestleMania is going to be Undertaker and John Cena. Not that I care, but that's what I saw.
It's
yeah.
like you guys are talking to my childhood or something.
This sounds like when I was growing up. Yeah, same
Okay,
guys.
so pretty much everything that's trending on Twitter right now basically has to do with the Cowboys Eagles game. So Matt Castle is at number 4, Jordan Hicks is number 5, Cole Beasley's number 6, Sean Lee, number 7. Do you want to talk about Sean Lee? Should we talk about that or not touch it?
Hey, Sean Lee. I don't know. Nothing. I don't know what to say.
Hey,
Yeah,
your name is Lee.
he has a concussion. Okay,
Oh.
I
probably
can't hear
deserves it.
that. Neither can he.
Yeah. Okay. So then number 8 is hashtag untying the knot. What is that? Hold on, I'm looking
Buddy,
it up.
is that a show on?
I will let you guys know.
Oh, but he's doing
Untied-
the really, really good research right now.
Is that also Housewives?
No.
What planet do I live on?
I don't want to live on this planet
It
anymore.
has something to do with a person named Toya Wright and Vicky Ziegler.
There's someone yelling at us, screaming at the top of their lungs, listening to this.
I have no idea
just because
what
of
this
I'm
is.
cutting the cord. I'm cutting out cable. I don't want to be a part of this.
Okay.
It has something to do with Bravo. You're going to probably want to move on.
Okay, and then let's see. Number 9 is hashtag WWHL. What does that mean?
What
What would
What Henry
Hogan?
Rollins do?
Except Rollins is with an R.
Frank, no one noticed until you brought it up.
Oh, watch what happens live. It's a show that plays on Bravo after those Real Housewives.
What the hell's going on in Bravo?
Oh my God! I didn't know that Bravo was
gotta
such a
get cable.
media dominant force right now.
They use Twitter like crazy.
Okay, let's see. Number 10 is the Eagles, duh. And then number 11 is Magi, M-A-G-G-I. Magagi? Is it Magagi?
Is it the Magi? Are they?
Oh, okay. This is interesting. So Nestle boss, Magi test unreliable. So it looks like it's 2-minute noodles that Nestle makes.
And the Magi don't want it.
Magi India is one of India's most loved food brands. Very nice. Follow us and be a part of our Kushan story. Very nice.
Well, what happened?
Forward them and add to
Well,
Go
what
Spurs Go
happened?
memes.
Let's see. I'm trying to figure out.
We got something. We got
Update out of Philadelphia, or I don't know. Are they?
Dallas.
They're in Dallas.
Philly kicks field goal, 27-24, minute 46.
Oh, that's a lot of time for Roma.
That really is. Oh wait.
I saw what you did there, Frank. I liked it.
Oh, wait. Hey, I got a good one.
Okay.
What is it?
Cam Newton Packers banner controversy.
What's
Cam
that?
Newton banners Packers.
hang on. So
Right.
Get buddy, come to a mic because we can't hear
I'm gonna
you.
move here.
I'm jumping on the big screen.
Okay, so
Jack, you're the intern. Get some levels.
during the game, Cam Newton came up to a banner that was at the Carolina Stadium and tore down a Packers banner like in the middle of the game, all PO'd. And apparently it was because there's more Packer fans at the Carolina game than there was actually Carolina fans.
Wow.
And it's been an ongoing issue for the whole year apparently, and he was really mad about it after the game.
Nice. Okay, on to the next thing.
Jack, get in here.
Okay, so the next thing trending is Jack Galinsky. I don't know who in the world that is.
He works
Buddy,
out at
do you
my
know who
gym.
that is?
Jack Galinsky.
Who's Jack Galinsky?
What show on
is
Bravo
he on
is he
Bravo?
on?
He is.
On the Shaws of Sunset.
Who's
some
that?
kind of singer.
Is that who it is? No. Oh, I was like, really?
Singer. Oh man, I don't know. What?
I feel like we all
He's a
turned
teen
60.
heartthrob of some sort.
He's a teen heartthrob.
Should we just do this from a bingo hall? Because obviously we're all out of touch.
Yeah, it really is. Jesus.
I mean, this is terrible.
Okay, so the next thing on Twitter is Bihar. Bihar.
Do they have 2-minute noodles too?
I don't know. Let's
I like
see.
how everything's a question with Ray.
Rupee slumps to 67.47 a dollar on Bihar verdict. U.S. rate hike concerns. Ooh, what does that mean?
Means I got to buy my house soon.
It probably does.
I would recommend that.
Lessons from Bihar. Most of India
Lock it
lives
in.
in
Not
the
the
happy
low
middle.
rates.
I don't know what in the world that's about, but okay, I'm going to the next thing.
I got
'cause-
one for Frank.
Okay, go ahead.
Ben Carson's number 10.
Ben Cart. Right now, I love the GOP right now. They are so entertaining up there. It's not even about politics at this point. It's just like a sideshow.
It's like who can come up with the worst story and
who's targeted right now is like Ben Carson. He's so amazing because like everything he's been talking about
is a lie.
well, is a lie, or it's just so funny because then people are starting to fact check him, and then he comes back stronger, saying like, "Hey, well, it's a liberal media," and then you're talking about it's Politico and the Wall Street Journal, one of the far right leaning publications that you have up there, and he's saying that it's some secular movement that's actually producing this when he himself wrote the stuff in a book.
Yeah,
I love it, and he's the top runner. I mean, he's the top seed in the GOP, and then followed by Trump.
Is
and
he
it's
really?
just amazing.
Is really ahead of Trump already?
He's ahead
Is
of
that
Trump.
happening?
Yeah, oh yeah.
And of
going
course-
into Iowa, you've got a couple months left. Going to the primaries, and it's going to be amazing to see what's going to go on.
really
Honestly,
will
my
be.
money on Rubio right now. So in the GOP.
Think so, huh? And then of course
they're just setting it up for Hillary to win. So
of course,
we'll see.
and then Donald Trump. He hosted SNL last night. Everybody said that was a complete failure and that it was really bad.
He danced Hotline Bling.
What?
Anybody know what Hotline Bling is?
I don't know.
I don't know what it is.
Someone knows what Hotline
Is Buddy in disguise a 16-year-old girl because he knows stuff?
What is in your closet?
No man should know.
Was it on Bravo?
It's Drake.
Drake.
Okay, well,
He's one of them hip hoppers.
Frank will like. Here we go. Michelle Bachmann says that Christians should convert as many Jews as possible. Go ahead.
Okay, so
Michelle
hold on,
Bachmann.
because
Okay.
I don't think Buddy people could hear Buddy. So what Buddy said is that Michelle Bachmann stated that all Christians should convert as many Jews as possible. Correct?
Correct.
Okay, Frank.
Ladies
I'll
and
let you
gentlemen,
handle
this
that
is your
one.
GOP. I mean, I work with a lot of conservatives, especially with a lot of the stuff that I do, and it's so funny how we can't get anything done because of stuff like this, and it's just such a. She's amazing, but the thing is, she's out of politics now. All she's doing is just
she's not
upping
even
her
a rep
brand,
anymore.
brand and
Yeah.
making money for themselves, and that's what it seems like the GOP has become. It's become this entity to where it's just you speak out, go as far right as possible, and then you just quit and start selling your fees and just have money rolling in. I mean, look at Sarah Palin, Michelle
Yeah.
Bachmann, Herman Cain. I mean, all these people are just trying to bank off speaking fees afterwards, and it's not like it's any different. I mean, you have that on the left, but right now the right finds it very, very profitable right now.
Yep.
So I love it. It's going to be so frustratingly entertaining come this election season.
Yep, and that's right around the corner. Other than that, that's pretty much everything that's trending on Twitter right now. That's not Philly and the Cowboys. Before we go, guys, do we have an update on the score?
Looking at it right now, Ray. Please hold.
27-24.
Is it still the same?
Yeah,
27.
still 27-24, 52 seconds left. Dallas is driving, though. They just converted a 4th and 5.
Oh.
Should, in case anybody got kicked off of ESPN or any other news media, do we want to stay on air and just let the people know that don't have access to any news media whatsoever know the score?
No, not really.
Yeah, we're done.
Yeah, we're
Alrighty,
done.
folks. Well, thanks.
Anyways, as always, guys, thank you so much for listening. This is the end of podcast number 11. We will talk to you guys next week, as always. Thank you very much to the best crew there is in podcasts. Frank, the producer, Buddy, the engineer, Sean and Jack, the intern. Thank you guys so much for spending time with me. And of course, as always, follow us on Facebook. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Listen to the podcast on SoundCloud, iTunes, coming soon on Google Play. And of course, you can hear us also on YouTube. Other than that, guys, have a great week. And as always, go Spurs, go.
Memes.
Duff beer for me.
Duff beer for you. Let's have one Duff.
You'll have one too. Duff beer for me. Duff beer for you. Every time Sean farts, you should put in a swish sound.
Did you actually eat the urinal cake or something?
Frank, you look like Joey from the first few years of Friends.